Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to She Boss Talk. I am your host, Shantae R. Roddy. This is February the 16th. I am coming on today to talk about the comparison or the differences between the Paycheck Protection Program, which is referred to as PPP, versus the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant that is being rolled out by the SBA. So come on in. I want to make sure that people do get on live so that you don't miss anything. If you're coming on later, you can scroll ahead. But do come in. Let me know who you are, where you're hailing from. Do give this a thumbs up. We want more people to see this video. Do subscribe if you have not subscribed already. We are approaching our 20,000 mark. So definitely we appreciate all of you all's support. Also, if you didn't know, we have a new feature here on our YouTube channel. Is our super chat feature. So if you see it in the comments, let me know. Our super chatters, we encourage you to use the super chat feature. Any of you that use that, again, we give you shout outs on air, and any monies that we raise from super chats, we do donate it to our She Boss Up Fund, which is a fund that we started in 2020 to help women in business that have been impacted by COVID-19 and help them continually with business development. So we will be launching the second round of those grants in second quarter of 2021. So look forward to that. As always, any information that I'm referencing in this live, you can always find it in the description of the video and in the show notes. You will see information here pinned to the video. These are always information or tools or events that we have that are upcoming or available that we have that are highly requested of our viewers. So we want to make sure that you can access the information as easily as possible. I want to make sure that in this season, when we're still in challenging times during the pandemic, that you all get the financial lifeline that you need, that you have awareness and knowledge about the various stimulus programs that are available, that are being rolled out, so that you can take advantage of those for which you are eligible for. So yesterday, I did a live comparing the Paycheck Protection Program loan to the EIDL loan program. So if that's something that you are interested in, want to learn more about, because both of those programs are still up and running, available, billions of dollars available for you to get access to for your business. This one I wanted to do comparison because I think this comparison is very important as well, so that again you can make a knowledgeable decision regarding your business on which program that you will be applying for. So both of these programs, I want to let you know, are administered again by the SBA. The Paycheck Protection Program has been extended and expanded as part. It was already part of the CARES Act that was rolled out and enacted back in March of 2020, and it has been extended numerous times. And it was just recently extended under the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, that $900 billion stimulus package that we're seeing being rolled out. It was expanded under that and extended to March 31st of 2021. So time is ticking on this, right? So $100 billion has already been approved in forgivable loans under that program. If you don't know, forgivable loans are essentially grants. So once you meet the criteria, you submit your forgiveness application, and then you can get 100%, you can qualify to get 100% of that loan forgiven. So I encourage you all to apply for that. Now, on the other hand, a newer program that was launched under this same new Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 is the Shuttered Venues Operators Grants. So I've been coming on to give you all constant updates because they are preparing to roll out this grant. And again, it's administered by the SBA. The applications are not open yet. They have put the announcement on their website. The SBA website is www.sba.gov, and their FAQs, which I will be reviewing for you today. This is important because you can only if you apply for the Paycheck Protection Program and you get funded, you cannot also get funded with the for the Shuttered Live Venues grant. This is if you get funded after December the 27th of 2020. So if you were already funded prior to that, you're good. But if you're applying for first round or first draw or second draw PPP, you then cannot get the Shuttered Venues grant. So I want you to make sure that which ones you meet the eligibility for, be able to do the comparison, and then decide which one you're going to apply for. Because if the Shuttered Live Venues grant is better for you, then you definitely want to apply for that. But you cannot get both again after December 27th of 2020. Any applications for PPP that you're funded for. So if you're funded, then you just don't get the Shuttered Live Venue. And if you get the Shuttered Live Venue grant, you can't get the new rounds of PPP. Okay, so I want to make sure that that is clear. For the Paycheck Protection Program, again, as a reminder, in order to qualify, you must have been in business as of February 15th of 2020. For first round, have 500 employees or less. Second round, 300 employees or less. For the second round, you must have or plan to request forgiveness of your first round PPP, and you must also be able to show at least a 25% decrease in gross receipts over comparable 8-week periods, taking an 8-week period in 2019, comparing that same period in 2020, and being able to show that decrease. Okay. And so applying for PPP, you're going through a lender. That is what is different, as well as you're going through a SBA Section 7(8) approved lenders to apply for the program, versus the Shuttered Live Venue. They have not opened up the applications yet, but it will most likely be going through the SBA, similar to how they're processing for the economic injury disaster loan programs. Okay, so for the Shuttered Live Venue grants, you must have been in business as of February 29th. So it's really important to pay attention to these dates, right? To see if you meet the eligibility requirement. Was your business operating as of the dates? All of these programs have a different date. They're close dates, but they're not the same date. Okay. So know that if you started your business, started operating your business in March of 2020, then you would not qualify for this particular program. It must have been as of February 29th. Okay. Now, for this program, this Shuttered Live Venues grant, it is a grant. That's another difference. It is not a loan. PPP is a forgivable loan that turns into a grant. The Shuttered Venues Operator Grant, it is a grant. It is not a loan. It's a grant. And it's a grant up to $10 million per qualifying business. So that's important to note. So again, up to $10 million for your business. And as we know, PPP is the loans are up to $2 million per business that can be, again, fully forgiven if you meet the criteria. Okay. One thing to note is who qualifies for the Shuttered Venues Operator. These are for theatrical producers, venues, live venues where you have live performances and you have ticket sales. So people are actually paying tickets to come see live performances. Any live performing arts organization operators, museum operators, zoos, aquariums. This would apply. These are venues that would qualify for this particular program. Live venue operators and promoters, motion picture theater operators as well. So if you have a movie theater, right, then you would qualify. If you are a talent representative, you would qualify as well, potentially for this program. So I know some talent representatives. So you ask yourself, do you represent talent, musicians, artists, comedians, If that is you, you could potentially qualify for the Shuttered Live Venue Grant. Okay. You must have 500 employees or less in order to qualify for this particular grant. Again, similar to the Paycheck Protection Program. For the Paycheck Protection Program, who is eligible? Again, we already established the date of February 15th of 2020. You must have been operating, but gig workers, independent contractors, self-employed, small businesses with employees. Even if you don't have employees, you qualify for that particular program, okay? Same for the live venues, okay? It says 500 or less, meaning even if it's you, and you're the sole owner, then you would qualify for these particular programs. Okay, so let's talk. I want to walk through some of the FAQs with you to give you more clarification on this Shuttered Venues grant. I want to make sure you understand all of the information. We have an entire playlist dedicated to Paycheck Protection Program as well as EIDL. So there's plenty of walkthrough, step-by-step videos for you all that are still needing help in applying for the program, for the PPP program. First draw, there's a walkthrough. Second draw, there's a walkthrough video as well. So you can get help on applying. Again, you apply for that through lenders, right? So we're helping with applications through David Allen Capital, Lendio, Divvy, PayPal, Square, Cabbage, your bank, right? Huntington, Chase, all the major banks, if they're approved through the SBA, you can apply for them, and you can apply to multiple lenders. You can only be funded once. Okay? You can only be funded once for PPP. Okay? You cannot be funded by multiple lenders. One thing I want to note that I noted yesterday that is important, and this is time sensitive. You have a short amount of time. It may be possible for you all to be able to do this, is to apply for both first and second draws or rounds, same thing, of PPP by the March 31st deadline. Okay, we're heading to the end of February right now, so this date is quickly approaching. We can anticipate that they will probably extend the program, but you don't want to wait for that. Okay, so we already see that they've already approved the 100 billion of the 280 billion, right? So people are definitely applying, and people are getting approved, and they're using their funds. So you may have time to apply. If this is your first time, first draw, apply, get funded, and then apply for second draw and get funded twice by March the 31st. Someone asked me, was there a time a requirement on that? Not that I'm aware of. You have to be funded first in one round before you can apply for the second round. Okay, so that's important to know. But that means what? Like I always say, you don't delay, don't hesitate, because again, there are millions of people applying for these programs, and it's not open indefinitely. Okay, so you definitely want to get those applications in. Now, let's talk about the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. When does a business have to be established? I said February 29th. So you know that if you weren't in operation as of that date, you won't qualify for this program. Is an entity not in business in 2019 but conducting business as of February 29th eligible? The answer is yes. So you do not have to have been in business in 2019. Same with PPP. Again, you had to have started. So it does not say you had to have been in business in 2019. You had to be in business as of the date that they state that you had to be in business. So if you were in business as of that date, you would definitely qualify for this particular program. Next, is an entity that applied for and received Paycheck Protection Program loan in July 2020 eligible for this particular program? It says yes, if an entity applied and was approved for PPP prior to December the 27th, it is eligible to apply for this Shuttered Venues grant. Okay. Now, is an entity that applied for first and second draw on or after December 27th, 2020 eligible? Yes. if you applied and were approved for PPP loan prior to the December 27, 2020 date, it is eligible to apply for the Shuttered Venue Operator grant. Okay. So, but those of you in 2021, you're applying right now. What does that mean? You would not be eligible. And it clearly says that here too. So if you apply for first and second draw loan on or after December 27th, would you be eligible? And it says no, both examples would not be eligible to apply for this grant unless and until your PPP loan application, whether it's the first or second draw, has been declined. Okay. So that's important to know. If you were declined, okay, then you can apply. This is if you were approved, okay, and you are funded, but you have to actually be declined if you are applying again now for first and second draw to be able to qualify for this Shuttered Venue Operator grant, which is, again, for those just tuning in, is a grant program administered by the SBA that is giving venues, live performing arts businesses, cultural arts, talent representatives up to $10 million in grant funding. They are working on rolling out this program, and the applications have not opened yet. They're just providing this information to get you ready so you can make sure that you're prepared once they open up the application portal for this particular program. Can an entity for a PPP loan now, can you apply for PPP now and decide later on the loan if you did not receive the grant? And the answer is no. So per the Economic Aid Act, as well as the PPP loan, as well as how the PPP loan operators, entities cannot apply for the Shuttered Venues Operators grant at the same time. Entities must make an informed business decision as to which program will most benefit them and apply accordingly. If an applicant is rejected by one program, it will then be eligible to apply for another. Okay, so that's important to know. Is a mobile entity with no fixed performance space eligible to apply? The answer, according to the SBA, is no. Okay. So if you have like a mobile, there's a lot of you all that have mobile businesses. It says, among other requirements, the Economic Aid Act requires that a venue have a defined performance space and audience spaces. If a particular venue, such as a circus, a fair, an entertainment business that provides talent at weddings, parties, cannot meet the requirements, it is not eligible to apply for the Shuttered Venue Operators grant. Now, what will disqualify you from receiving this particular grant through the SBA? If your business does not have a place of business located in the United States, if it does not operate primarily within the U.S. and does not make a significant contribution to the U.S. economy through payment of taxes or use of American products, materials, and labor. Okay. If you were not in operation as of February 29, 2020, if you applied and or received PPP loan on or after December 27th, if it is a publicly traded company or a majority owned or controlled publicly traded corporation, or it presents live performances or sells products or services pursuant to a sexual nature. So there's businesses, again, that are ineligible for this particular program. Another reason why you might be ineligible is more than 10% of your 2019 gross revenue came from the federal government, not counting disaster assistance. Okay. So if you receive more than 10% of your gross 2019 revenue from the federal government, excluding disaster assistance, you would not be eligible. And then lastly, you own or operate venues, theaters, museums, talent agencies in more than one country. then that would not be eligible. Okay, so again, this is for the US, and you cannot be operating in more than 10 states. Okay, so there's some businesses that have businesses in multiple states. You cannot be operating in more than 10 states. And again, you cannot have more than 500 employees for this. Again, the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. Okay, so let me move on down here. I want to really quickly go over live venue operators and promoters really quickly, because this is important. There's a question on here regarding wedding planners, like in event venues. Are you eligible to apply? And here's what the SBA says. It is not likely. It says, per the Economic Aid Act and specific eligibility criteria applying the live venue operators, it appears wedding venue operators would most likely fail to meet all the multiple requirements. For example, ticket sales, promotion of events to the public, decline audience or performance space. These are all things that you need to consider that are part of the requirements when they're going to be asking you on your application. Do you have ring lighting, sound mixing, equipment, employment of sound engineers, stage managers, box office managers for ticket purchases? So you have to ask yourself, do you meet that criteria? So, but you may, okay? So it didn't say no, it said it is not likely unless you can satisfy all those other criteria that I just mentioned. And so I know, like, event planners and venues that do have that type of setup, but not all do. So again, you want to make sure that you review all the requirements to make sure that you qualify. Is a restaurant that features live music eligible to apply? Now, the answer is no. So I know there's a lot of you all out there, you have restaurants and you may have like live acts that come in to your restaurant, but that does not meet the criteria for this program. It says that if the principal line of business is a restaurant operation rather than live venue operation, then the business would not be eligible for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. So whatever business you're in, just look at what is your main line of business. What is the principal line of business? Would it fit into the category of live venue operator, right? Or a talent representative? Is that your main, right? So someone had asked me about being a DJ, and so I could not answer them no, because I don't know what their principal business is. Because I know a lot of people have venues and they're also a DJ, or they employ DJs for their venue. But again, remember the word live venue operator, talent representative, ticket sales, right? So if you're a restaurant and you're just having live performances come in, and that is not your main business is being a restaurant, then you would not qualify for this particular program. Now, it says a dinner theater is a dinner theater eligible. So there are those of you all that have theaters, a dinner theater. I've actually been to some of these. They're pretty cool. It is possible to qualify and to apply. A dinner theater could qualify if its principal business activity is the organization of promotion, management, and hosting live concerts, comedy shows, theatrical productions, or other events by performing artists rather than restaurant operation, and meet the eligibility requirements. So you can see, and throughout the FAQs, they're constantly circling back to what is your principal business. Okay. And they will also probably look at the category, like when we talk about the NAISC codes that they're asking for on the PPP application, they will most likely ask for those same codes to be able to determine what industry you're in, and be one of the vetting parts of helping them vet out to see if you're actually meeting these criteria. Is a company that uses 1099 independent contractors, right? We talked about this before. Workers, talents versus W-2 eligible to apply. And the answer in this instance is yes. Okay. So please note that if you have 1099 workers, talent, and not W-2, or you can have a combination and you qualify according to the Economic Aid Act, payments made to independent contractors as reported on the entity's Form 1099 are allowable use of grant funds. As such, an entity that used independent contractors would be eligible to apply for this grant. Okay, that's amazing. That is fantastic, because that has been a big challenge among businesses because they did not have W-2 workers. They have 1099s. Well, now you can have 1099s for this particular program. But it says here, here's a question. We hire a lot of independent contractors for events as a subsidiary service provider for or at live venues and events. Does that fit into the talent placement eligibility? And their answer is no. So this does not fit the definition of subsidiary, but rather defines a secondary service provider. So that's the difference. The SBA does not believe that a secondary service provider supplying support to qualifying venues meets the eligibility entity definition. Okay. So again, you just want to make sure to go back through the video that we have that gives you a step-by-step over all the criteria for the Shuttered Live Venue Operator Grant. That's important, again, for you to be able to know if you qualify and then get prepared to be able to submit your application. Is a talent agency that books actors at live venues but does not operate a live venue eligible for this grant? And the SBA says it is possible. Okay. So for all of you talent agencies out there, again, is the talent agency that books actors. So you book actors at live venues, but you do not operate a live venue yourself. Are you eligible? And it says it is possible. A talent agency may be eligible to apply if 70% of its operation is managing, booking, or representing performers who appear primarily at live venues. If it is less than 70%, it is not eligible to apply for this grant. Okay. Now, what I do know is for this grant, how they're going to roll it out is they're going to roll it out in phases, similar to like what they did for PPP. Okay. They're going to it's going to be first come, first serve basis. As always, that means you want to be one of the first ones. They're going to, for first 14 days when they roll it out, is going to be those hardest hit. These are targeted programs, hardest hit, meaning that any eligible business that had losses of 90% or greater, 90% or greater in 2020. Well, first 14 days will be dedicated to them. Next 14 days will be dedicated to those that had a loss of 75% or greater. Okay. And then after that, they will roll it out to those that had a decrease of 25% or greater. Another thing to note is not only do you qualify for up to $10 million for this grant, but you also will potentially qualify for a supplemental grant. So they're going to give you a grant, then come back and give you another grant on top of that. So that will then be a percentage of the grant that you receive. It will not be the full amount. It will actually be a percentage of whatever the amount is that you receive. Okay. So let me go here and just see if there are any questions. Just want to remind, as I'm going through the questions in the comments, that we have specific videos, step-by-step walkthrough videos on all the different stimulus programs, PPP, EIDL, because I know a lot of you all still need help with that. You're going through reconsiderations, you've been denied, you want to apply, go through an appeals process, whatever the case may be, you can access our playlist and go through those videos and they will help you. Okay. So I just want you to know that. Let's see. South Texas. Oh yeah, everything is shut down there. I'm sorry to hear about that. Power is out. Sorry to hear about that. But even if this does not apply to your business and you know a business that it does apply to, it's so important that you share this information. The Shuttered Venue Operators Grant is a $15 billion grant program. But as you know, they're giving up to $10 million. So that can run out relatively quickly. We saw what happened with rounds of PPP. We saw what happened with the idle grants that were given out as well. Shutter grant, does live entertainment bands qualify? Potentially. Is it your primary business? Do you take tickets? Sales tickets. Is there a box office? Is there some method that people pay to get tickets to the live entertainment? That's the question. Did you say that we can apply for a second draw after we have received first draw? Yes. And this, Yvonne is referring to Paycheck Protection Program. Yes, you can. And yes, you should. If you've already received your first draw of Paycheck Protection Program, you can go ahead and apply for your second draw. Okay. When exactly is the SVO grant relief is going to be open officially? The SBA has not announced it. When they announce it, I will let you all know. They're right now preparing. They're doing like a series of webinars. They released the FAQ on their website, and they released all the program, the details, high level of the program, and then they're preparing to roll it out. Hopefully it'll be in March. It'll be soon in the upcoming weeks. But again, they have to prepare. They have to prepare a portal for this particular program. So it's a lot that they have to do to get it up and running correctly. Okay. So let me just see if there's any more questions on here. Now, remember, for Paycheck Protection Program, at least 60% of your expenses, right, of what you spend the funds on must be towards payroll in order for you to get 100% forgiveness. You can't qualify for less than 100% forgiveness. And then if for some reason you don't qualify for forgiveness, you still have great payment terms, right? So there's still good payment terms, 1% up to 5 years, depending on when you took out the loan, up to 5-year term on the loans, and deferment as far as when you have to start paying it back after you get the loans. But really, there's no reason why you can't get 100% forgiveness. The only time, and this was recently, that someone told me that they didn't qualify for the forgiveness is because they failed to act. Now, when the SBA or whoever it is, your lender, SBA, tell you that you need to provide verification or get certain information in to get either be approved or get your loan forgiven, then you must follow up. You must do exactly what it is that they're asking you to do. And if you don't, those are some of the consequences of it. Don't let something that you did prevent you from getting full forgiveness, right? Because that's what we want. We're about getting free money at this point. What do I mean by second draw? I mean that you already applied for, were approved for, and funded for the Paycheck Protection Forgivable Loan Program. Now you have an opportunity to get go in for a second time and get funded again. Okay. And in order to do that, to qualify, you must have intention on getting your first round money that you got forgiven. You must be able to show a 25% or more decrease in gross revenues over 8-week period in 2019 compared to 2020, and have 300 employees or less. So that's what second draw means. It means that you have a second chance to go in and get some money and have it fully forgiven. For forgiveness, any funds that you receive that are $150,000 or less, there is a one-page, simplified, very easy application. We do a walkthrough of that also in our playlist as well. So there's still a lot of people that need to request forgiveness for the first loan that they got. I know some people that have already been forgiven, but there's still plenty, millions that have not requested forgiveness, and you definitely should with your lender. You are not required also you do not have to go back to the same lender that funded your first PPP loan, but I recommend you do if you didn't have any problems with them. It's just going to make the process much easier. Also, I just want to state this because some people were reaching out to me about denials. Okay. So depending on your lender, some have put in protocols that say they have a criteria that says if your loan amount is not over a certain threshold, they're not going to approve you. I mean, and it doesn't have anything to do with that you didn't submit the right information or that you didn't have the income. Is that what you would have received in a loan is so low that it is not even worth processing it. I mean, it probably costs them more to process the loan than the money that you're going to receive. So like if it's $300, I think it's Cabbage. I use this as an example in the help session we had. Cabbage specifically on their website says that if your loan that you would be approved for is $1,000 or less, they would not approve it. Okay, so that's just something to know. You have to think, okay, is this worth it? You go through the calculation, you know how much they would fund you. Is it worth it to get a loan? Even though it's forgivable, does it make sense to get a $300, $500 loan? All right, and then you have to consider, are you also on unemployment? Because that factors in, because you can't be getting PPP and unemployment at the same time. So if it's that low and your unemployment and then it will impact it, it probably doesn't make sense to then apply for the Paycheck Protection Program. Let me see. Hello, everyone. I see everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so I'm not going to stay on much longer. I hope that's been helpful. Again, this video was to provide a comparison overview between two programs, the Paycheck Protection Program and the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. Both programs are stimulus programs that are administered by the SBA. The Shuttered Venues Grant is the newest and latest. That is currently in process of being rolled out. The applications aren't open yet, but you will need to make a decision, evaluate the information, see if you're eligible for both, which one does it make sense to apply for? Because again, you can't apply for both and get both if you apply for on or after December 27th for the PPP. So again, you have to either be denied to that one to get the Shuttered Venue Grant, or be denied the Shuttered Venue Grant to get the PPP. Okay, so but you cannot get both after December 27th for applications that come in after December 27th of 2020. Okay, so but there are plenty of grants still being rolled out. We're still $900 billion. These are two of many programs that have been rolled out under this current stimulus plan. We have videos on plenty of other ones, like the employee retention tax credit that you would get by filing your tax returns, the self-employed tax credit that you will also get by filing your tax returns, and there are many more. There's a targeted EIDL grants. For those that apply for the EIDL program on or before December 27th, that you have an opportunity to qualify for that program. They're rolling that out in two separate rounds. Those that got a partial grant are the first ones to get their email notifications. Then those that did not receive any money, grant money because the SBA ran out of funding, will be the next in line to start receiving emails. There's still grants being rolled out at the state level as part of the CARES Act program, where states receive billions of dollars. So they're launching multi-million-dollar grant programs for small business. They're also rolling out multiple rounds of other relief programs that you can take advantage of to give you relief for your mortgage, your rent. Some have relief for car notes and utilities. Someone just got $10,000 paid in their mortgage. Someone else got 6 months paid with their rent. So there are definitely relief programs out here that you may not know about that I'm bringing to your attention that you definitely want to apply for. Again, a lot of those programs are first come, first serve, and they're only open for a short period of time. They're not just out there indefinitely. Because just like yourself, there are thousands, potentially millions of others applying for these programs just like you are. Okay. So again, do look in your local geographic area. That's where the bulk of the money is right now. Stay tuned. I provide updates on the next stimulus package that is currently being drafted as part of the American Rescue Plan. This is President Biden's American Rescue Plan. The Democrats are drafting legislation as we speak, have already included a number of different stimulus, like the stimulus checks, the child tax credits are in there, extension on unemployment. So there's a lot of benefits that they're working on drafting legislation for that stimulus package, which is a $1.9 trillion. So we can anticipate that there'll be more grants rolled out as part of that package as well. That was indicated in the plan, at least $15 billion. So what that looks like, we won't know until they actually draft it in legislation. And then it goes again up for vote, either in the House and the Senate at the signature, or they go through the reconciliation process to get it passed. Okay. So those are updates that are still forthcoming. Again, if you are not subscribed, subscribe. If you're benefiting from this information, again, you want to stay connected, stay in the know to make sure that you can take the necessary and quick action to get funding for your business and get relief for yourselves and your families. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, continue to be the boss with amplified impact and continue to stay safe and in good health. Have a wonderful day.